intensive treatment.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Intensive Treatment. Today we have a very special episode planned for you. We have some special guests. We're doing our crossover event, our Crisis of Infinite Earths in the Intensive Treatment universe. So we have Batman Ultra 7 and we have Alter Brap.
Woo!
I know. Clap.
Well,
So
what it
guys,
do, homie? It's Paul Wall, baby.
what brought you guys here today?
They don't know.
Gotta represent the gang. I gotta represent.
It's like, what am I doing here?
I'm here. I'm here for a paycheck.
Gang.
I'm here for
C
that
for
cash.
city. Homie, shut up, AJ. Shut the fuck up, Clyde.
The debate is already starting. So, guys, today's topic at hand is we're doing our first ever intensive treatment debate. Now, I think it'd be cool in the future if Marvel and I had these. That would be really cool. But we decided to have the face cams on just to bring you guys into the debate format a little bit better. I don't know. I feel like if you see us and if we're really getting into it, which I hope, people are punching each other through the screens and stuff, that'd be great.
Oh man, I'm ready. I'm
Me
ready
too.
for that.
But obviously, as you can tell, Alter Brap is representing Arkham City. So basically today we're having a debate on what is better. Which do we prefer, Arkham Asylum or Arkham City? And we have two teams.
We have for city, and I feel like I'm gonna get shot
up
by doing so.
Before I mute you and kick you into the oblivion.
I'm gonna kick you in the nuts.
Love it. So our two teams are AJ and myself, and then team 2, Arkham City, is Marvel and Alter. So two teams representing two respective games. And by the way, both games are top tier comic book media. All four of us love both of these games.
Yeah, I think that can't be understated enough, is that no matter which out of all four of us, which one we think is better, it's no understatement that those two games are just god tier.
The answer is Lego Batman. That's just the best game. That's the answer. I think Josh is having a stroke.
You can catch my review of Lego Batman later this year.
If I'm not on it, I'm gonna kill you. I'll kill you, son of a bitch. I'll kill you.
I'm gonna kill you. Okay, so guys, how this is gonna work is we're gonna have a proper debate format. So each team will initially get about roughly 2 minutes to introduce their opening claims and why their game is better. So AJ and I will go first because Asylum is the first game. Then we'll pass it off to Marvel and Alter, and then after that, it'll come back to us, and we will kind of talk about it more in depth. Then vice versa, go back to them, and then we'll have an open forum of just us going back and forth to each other, talking about why we're wrong or right, whatever. So are you guys ready to debate?
Let's do this.
All right, so AJ, why don't you start first? Why don't you give us like a brief, maybe minute or so of why Asylum is the better pick?
Thank you. Your Honor, I will be making my case based on
Your Honor,
facts.
he was indeed 18.
Only the highest empirical facts. And you know what? It's Arkham Asylum is better than Arkham City. Why? Why is Arkham Asylum better than Arkham City? Well, there's many reasons, including the atmosphere, the creative game design. It may not be a massive game, but what it does with such a small playground, with its game design is like monumental. And not to mention the fact that, we wouldn't have all the superhero games we have now without Arkham Asylum. And this is not even touching on like the music, like just the pure atmosphere of this game. And I mean, like Kevin Conroy, man, which is like the all-star quality of all of these games, but I think especially in this game, it's like we love you, Kevin. That's all I gotta say.
Damn. All right. Thank you, Batman Ultra 7. Um, so my arguments are stemming mainly from how I feel about Batman being represented as a character and how I feel his comic version, which is obviously the definitive version of Batman, is portrayed in this game. And I think this game does it better than all of the games, particularly better than Arkham City. I think that was one of the things City lacked when Rocksteady started work on it is the immersion into the world of who Batman is, and how it's portrayed in a video game and how you bring those comic pages to life. I think that was something that was lost in translation from the get-go when they started Arkham City, and that lasted all the way to Night. Um, I think the open world is superb. I believe this is a debate. I believe that it is better, although Arkham City's open world is great. I believe the things that Asylum lacks in terms of combat, stealth, availability in the open world, like dive bombing, and I don't know, just overall speed while you're traveling, is made up for with how great this game is, how immersive the story is, the open world is, the character of Batman, and his rogues gallery. So, um, yeah, that's my introduction.
Okay.
Pass it off to you guys. Hopefully your mic's working this time.
Yeah. Alter, you want to go? You want to go first?
So when we're talking about debates, all right, Kamala
Frankly,
doesn't want you to have an open world in her game. The Democrats, they don't want you to have an open world. They don't want you to be free. We want you to be free on the Arkham City side. Free
your Trump
roam.
impression needs work, brother.
Your mother needs work, and that's why I did work to her last night. Anyway, so back to my point. So, guys, Batman Arkham City is a phenomenal 10 out of 10 game, as we all know. So, the reason I think that Arkham City is better than Arkham Asylum is purely, let's talk purely from a gameplay standpoint, purely from the point of a video game. Arkham City builds upon every aspect that Arkham Asylum has laid down. A great foundation that it builds upon with combat, with exploration, and the open world. And in my opinion, even the story I feel is a much more developed story, which I feel like kind of really solidifies the Arkham universe as the Arkham universe, and really differentiates the Arkham franchise from other iterations of Batman. And the combat, I probably already mentioned gameplay and everything, but combat in this game is phenomenal. It's the best in the entire franchise. The liberals, they don't want you to have a free roam.
You lied?
I guess.
No, yeah, we're good.
Elijah doesn't want you to have a good debate.
Just a cameo appearance.
Yeah.
Elijah doesn't want us to have this debate. He keeps messing it up. He works for the liberal team, the Asylums.
The Asylums.
That's staying in.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love how I tried to cover it up with my head.
We'll get him in one shot. He won't be in this video. Wow.
We're going to deport Elijah.
All right. Is it go to me now or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So.
Who the fuck else is going to speak?
Okay. Okay. I didn't know if you were done. That whole thing threw me off. Anyway, so if we're talking just on a quality level, I would say City is a much improved game, like compared to Asylum. The combat is much improved. The stealth is much improved. The gameplay overall, the exploration, the open world, the things to do in that open world, like all the side missions and whatnot. The story, it has a lot of interesting elements to it. It was a game that took risks, as we'll talk about later with certain twists and turns and whatnot. And I think, to me, Arkham City pushed the envelope of what superhero games could do. Like, Asylum was kind of the building block, but City really pushed it out for everyone else to copy, imitate, and just kind of take from in certain instances. Amazing Spider-Man. But yeah,
Yeah.
just on a just on a comparison level, I think what we have with Arkham City is just a much more elevated experience and an amazing one too.
Okay. All right, beautiful. So we have our 2 introductions, and at this point in the video, guys, let us know in the comments section below where you're at with this. What do you think? So AJ, why don't you lift us off with kind of our arguments, or your side of the argument, and then I'll follow up, but go more in depth.
Honestly, when I was hearing that that weak sauce argument from Marvel, I was just like yawning. I'm trying to hold myself from like not sleeping right
I'm ready
now
to like roll up
because
my sleeves here and punch you through the screen.
bad.
Hey, I'm gonna stop you there for a second. All right, listen. All right, Beyonce had a good game with Arkham Asylum. All right, but listen.
It's my time. It's my time to talk. It's my time to talk.
All right,
It's my
fam.
time to
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit the thing down here. It is his
I'm gonna
time.
hit your thing down.
You'll
all right?
get your time. You will
boy.
get your time. You will get your time. I promise. You will get more
You
than
get your
enough.
time. Okay, with the child, I can get into my argument. I wanna touch on the stuff you guys were talking about. Um, I mean, you guys were talking about like exploration and open world. I mean, it's basically the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But um, I I can understand that. It's definitely valid, but for my money, for my money, it's better to make a smaller game that you can innovate with the qualities there. And that's easily what Asylum did. To have something that is like it's limited, but you get to do so much with it, is I think what makes Asylum such a great game. That there's so much to explore there, and also like the extra game content in Asylum, in my opinion, is more interesting than City.
I just gotta chime in here. Um, there really isn't any extra content in Asylum. City has story content, whereas Asylum is, challenge map based,
Some of the challenge map, buddy.
and a
You're
joke.
this
I mean, you
close
get
and you can cut.
Joker.
So he already
You
lost
get
his argument right there.
that argument.
I
Look,
find it more funny that you're on the same team as him and you're like, not really.
I can't. Look, I'm here for truth, and that is not the
And
truth.
let me clarify when I'm talking about extra game content.
Bro
That
likes
might
the
have been
Crime Alley challenge map more than any story content in Sin City.
that might have been
Actually, low key
too.
clear. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm mostly talking about like uh I really love the stuff with like Amadeus Arkham,
Oh, so
which
not.
adds
Oh,
a lot
you
of
mean
like
like in-game extra like stuff to do in the game?
that's what I
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
um like the stuff that like adds to the exterior of the story, like builds the
Okay.
history of this world. Um, like I think that's something that like defines the game a lot for me, is how they were able to make the world feel bigger, even though in game it's you can't go outside of the asylum.
Yeah. Okay, so on that point, I will actually kind of. I think I'm probably more in line to go on your side with that, AJ, because I do agree. For me, the extra side missions or whatever, if you want to even call it that, in Asylum, um, are definitely for me more in depth. I think that's something that you guys are going to struggle on, is because I know Marvel and I have talked about this. The side missions, they're far and few where there's good ones, in terms of actually being very immersive in city. So there are some good ones, very good ones, but I think overall, I think the consistency of Asylum is there. Even if it's
Mm.
just Amadeus Arkham and the Riddler, um, I think they're, like I said, more consistent. So I wanna go over a couple of your guys' arguments here. Asylum was the building block. I agree with that. That is complete. I mean, you can't get around that at all. It was. Um, but I do want to get to your point of how it built upon everything and basically made it better. I mean, I do think, and I said this in my opening statement, that City's combat and stealth, traversal, all of that is more refined than Asylum's. Absolutely. And they perfected it. I think City's combat personally is my favorite in the entire series. Um, but I don't know that that constitutes as making it better in a sense of, if you're looking at it from a game to game perspective. I think City checks off all the boxes for the series, but I don't think City's combat would feel right in Asylum. Um, I think having Asylum's combat the way it is and condensing it to Asylum in that sense of like going game to game rather than what City did for the series, and it's hard to kind of say anything else because of how impactful City was. And you guys mentioned how, it was basically the standard for all superhero games. Um, but I think if we're going game by game, I think Asylum was definitely more innovative than City was, because we could look back at Asylum, it had nothing. It had nothing to compare. There was no game that acted like it at all. It was the first of its kind, and they had to pull that out of their hat and be like, what can we do that's never been done before, but that also feels sort of familiar? Um, and I think they did that with flying colors, and um, so combat is something that, yes, is it technically better in City? Absolutely, it is. There's no getting around that. But I think it's more special in Asylum for me. And obviously, that might be a subjective thing. Maybe that's just my personal taste, which is fine. But this is a debate, and here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. Um, but I'm trying to think of any other things that you mentioned, but I'll kind of let you guys go in depth now, just because I'll be rebuttaling, and then after you guys go, then we'll kind of have an open forum and we'll go back and forth with each other.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna let Alter take this one first.
Oh great, Mr. Illegal.
The hell does that mean? I'm
I
whiter
don't
than
know.
you are. I thought it was Mexican.
No,
But,
not in that way. Not in that way.
Not in that way. That's all.
Oh. I'm going to start this off by saying, AJ, if just one more word out of your mouth, I will cut you. Okay? So that's how I'm going to start this off. I've had it up to here with the bad takes. Right? First, you didn't watch Joker for like damn near a decade. And now you're sitting here spitting bullshit in my face talking about, I think it has better side
All right,
content.
guys.
There is no side content.
We gotta keep the insults to a minimum until the end. Then we can spew insults. But right now, let's keep it debate-ish. You can put the knife away for now.
So to keep it PG,
Mm-hmm.
what I simply am trying to get across is that objectively, and this is from an objective standpoint, Arkham City has more content than Arkham Asylum, and in my opinion, has a more well-rounded Batman experience because of the extra content, because of the extra side content, because of the DLC, because of the multiple playable characters, the more in-depth challenge maps, Predator sections, combat. I thought combat is the biggest upgrade from the game, other than the open world, of course. And the open world, in my opinion, is the best we've seen in the Arkham franchise. And while, yes, I will admit Arkham Asylum has, probably a better soundtrack, probably a better atmosphere, because Arkham Asylum has a beautiful atmosphere. So I will admit that. However, what I will not admit is to say that it is not that Arkham City does not have an objectively better environment because of the scope and because of how lively it is with all the inmates. And so I will just simply leave it at that I feel like it's a more well-rounded Batman experience because of that. And we'll end this with a message to AJ. Please stop being wrong. And I will leave it there. God bless.
Moving on to Marvel DC fan.
Okay, so I want to start off because you mentioned City's combat not working in Asylum, right? Talk to anybody that loves this franchise as much as we do. How many of them actually go back to Asylum's gameplay compared to City? And objectively, if you're looking just at the mechanics added, like the double counter, like the multi takedown, they got rid of the throw, upgrade and stuff like it is. Nobody is objectifying that a City's gameplay is just on a better level. And if they say like they moved all the assets over from Asylum, I think it still would have worked pretty much as well. Like if you're fighting people in the intensive treatment wing or whatever, and you're using that combat, like I think it would be pretty great. But and as far as just like side stuff goes, you got Amadeus and the Riddler, the two things of side content, and like DLC is like some challenge maps. But then you look at Arkham City and it's just like you got like Azrael, Bane, Hush, like the AR challenges, the freeze tech, like Nora or stuff, like all these things. They may not be like all that great in some areas, but like it's plentiful and interesting, especially stuff like Azrael and Hush, which, granted, it didn't lead to anything great, but the setup, like imagine like you're playing the game for the first time and you see the ending of the Azrael mission, you see the ending to the Hush, like it just leaves you wondering for what would come next. And like I'm still thinking about it to this day, even though I know what's going to happen. Like I'm just in my head, I'm just picturing what could have been. And DLC, let's talk about that for content. You got the skin pack, which offers a lot more replayability for going through the story again. Even that's something that Arkham Asylum doesn't have. You got the extra characters to play as, an entirely different story once you're done with the main campaign. It's only an hour long, but it's more of what you love from City and more to dive into. So yeah, if like it just on every level, as far as content and things to do and gameplay, I think those are the main contributing factors to why I think City is just a better game to play in general. Even though I love Asylum like to death, but like if we're going for an objective quality level, then I would go to City like instantly. So, and then my piece.
All right, guys, that's going to be the debate. Let us know in the comment section.
Jesus.
Okay, so I want this to be an open floor now, so we can all go back and forth with each other,
Okay.
like we're in a normal conversation, and go over each one of our points, whatever. Put the knife away, or I will kill you
With your own knife.
with your knife. I will tell everyone how you got those scars.
Shut the fuck up, Clyde. I hate you.
It'll be just like Batman #1.
Oh my
Joker
God.
got his own knife.
Okay, so, Caden, I want to talk about how because one of your arguments was that there's a lot more to offer in Arkham City, whether it be story content, things in the gameplay, what have you. Would you agree with me that that's one of your arguments? There's just more to offer.
Why the fuck do you say a lawyer. Yes, that's what I said.
Because I'm trying to
Did you say
debate.
this on this day?
Yes.
This isn't a debate. Next, you're going
Okay.
to say, Caden, do you have a gambling problem? And I'll be like, yeah. And then you'll be like, okay, well, Mr. Knowles.
Well, you're wrong. Stop doing that.
Okay, so my main objection to this is that more does not mean better. So I'm curious, what extra stuff in the game do you think is better than Asylum's, and why?
Well, let's look at just the base game, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Hush stuff, which is like peak murder mystery. You have the Zaz stuff, which is, you basically tracking the phones and eventually finding Zaz in what essentially feels like, again, just like a really good modern age Batman story. And then you have the Deadshot stuff, which, I mean, the Deadshot boss fight, which, I'll admit is not the best, obviously.
It's the greatest
But
in the series.
the track. Okay, well, I didn't know you were retarded. But so we you do you solve these murders, like going, it's similar to the Hush thing. It's a very great murder mystery where you find the list of people he wants to kill, you find his locker, you track him down. You have the Azrael stuff, which really sets up the future of the franchise, and sends you on this wild goose chase around Arkham City. You have all the stuff with Freeze as well, stuff that will unlock you new gadgets and whatnot, the AR challenges and stuff that really enhances the game, makes you better at the game, and some new mechanics. And I would say that everything that City offers is of high quality. And I'm talking just base game. Because then you can also get into DLC, which the DLC for Asylum, sure, you got a cool cut, like some cool challenge map, sure. But City offers, all the new playable characters. I would argue that its challenge maps that it offers are better. And then, of course, you have the elephant in the room, which is Harley Quinn's Revenge, a whole new story experience where you play through, just after the events of City, as Robin throughout this whole story. That's pretty much like an afterwards of the Arkham City story. And just overall, I feel like, yes, you are correct. More does not equal better. But in this case, I feel like because there's so much more that is just of so much quality, I feel like it is better.
Yeah, I was gonna chime in with that too. It's just like there may be more, and you're right that for that expression, more doesn't always mean better. But what we do have in City is still quality, no matter how you look at it.
It's quality, but I would digress that it's not better. Not all of it,
Okay,
at
but
least.
why
Not all of it,
why
at
would
least.
you not?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay, so I will say, let's just look at side content for a second, because DLC is a different beast. Because
I want to.
different.
No, yeah, let's talk about side content.
So side content purely, look, you got the Amadeus Arkham stuff, all right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That stuff's great. Adds a lot of lore. You have all the Riddler stuff, which I will say this: that is the best Riddler trophy riddle experience, I guess you would call it, in the entire franchise.
That's not really hard to narrow it down, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's the one that has the least. Can you imagine that? But you got to look at it as that. That's it. Right. Both of those are great. That's it. Meanwhile, City, like I said, has Hush, has Deadshot, has Azrael, has all the Victor Freeze stuff. That all of that either boosts the world that Arkham City establishes more, or by itself is a great Batman story companion piece to the larger Arkham City experience.
Okay, so I want to chime in here for a second because you mentioned some really good side missions. Deadshot, Zaz, particularly Azrael, regardless, good side missions. But I don't feel that they unravel a greater story at all. I think they're very condensed, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying that, but they're very condensed in the world of Arkham City. Whereas I feel like if you look at, forget Riddler, because Riddler is very condensed to Asylum. I mean, you stop him and that's it. It's not like it's changing much. But if you look at something like Amadeus Arkham, that's the entire lore of basically everything starting. And every time you get one, it unravels more of this mystery. You're trying to figure out who this person is. You're trying to figure out the history of this person. Whereas if you look at these side missions, what is Azrael? You literally scan 4 symbols. Every side mission here is repetitive stuff. You find Deadshot's victim. You scan around. You go to the spot. Oh, where's Deadshot? I gotta find him. Zaz, you answer a million phone calls, run around the city, gives you a timer, and then you have to go through this long ass. I know Marvel hates this
Would
too.
you also say?
Go
Would
ahead.
you also say that it is it's repetitive to just go around scanning different items?
I'm glad you brought that up.
It's repetitive to go to go around
repetitive.
collecting these different trophies.
It's repetitive, but the payoff is good because of the unraveling mystery of the story. That's why it's good. The scanning doesn't matter to me because I'm not like going out of my way to find them. Usually they're in spot unless you're collecting Riddler trophies, but usually they're in spots throughout the game at checkpoints where you can just be like, "Oh, there's one." Deadshot.
The way they're out.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say the way the Arkham, the Arkham signs that you have to scan, the way they're mapped out in the game, it's a lot of checkpoints. You don't really have to go out of your way to do it. The majority of them do not interrupt the flow of the game, which I think is an important thing to consider with this kind of thing.
And also, there is some really good side missions in the city, but there's also a lot of really bad ones. Like, I don't think the Bane one is any good. The boss fight's terrible. You go around every area just destroying 6 Titan containers, and then the payoff is like terrible. You don't even get a proper boss fight with Bane. The AR challenges or whatever. I mean, fine. Heart of Ice. I mean, you find Nora, and I guess the only payoff for me of that one is that it furthers the relationship of him and Victor Freeze, which I always enjoy that. I'll never say no to that. But what's the other one? Acts of Violence is horrible. Like I hate it. Azrael is very good. Enigma is terrible. It takes forever to do anything, and everything is out of the way. I'm not a fan of Zaz's mission at all. I just don't like it. But and Deadshot, I'm really not a fan of that one either. I love Mad Hatter's mission. I'll give you guys that. Mad Hatter's mission is fantastic. Azrael is great. I think Azrael is the best mission in the game. And contender for best in the series, in my opinion. But go ahead. Sorry.
I will say I think one reason the Mad Hatter like side mission works so well is that it's like built in. It's like built into the flow of the story. Like it's an intentional interruption in like the best way. In the way that a lot of other side missions in the game aren't.
Do either of you guys have any responses? I know that you're freaking both of you are probably itching.
I mean, if we're talking about
listen here.
Oh, I guess he's going ahead.
No, I'll let you speak before I spit venom.
So, okay, the Amadeus side mission. I mean, it's great if you love lore, trying to get more lore out of this series, which that game does really great. That side mission though, like when you really take a look at it, all of the messages that you find is like, I mean, it doesn't, like, you're talking about like the side missions in the city adding nothing to that game, but I would say that pretty much goes the same for the Riddler and Amadeus. Like, if you're not the only real connection it has to the story is Quincy, like him going crazy at the end, which if you're not going after them, you wouldn't even really know until, like after a certain point, Quincy just leaves. You never see him again. So if you're not going after the Amadeus stuff, you won't find out that he's just a crazy person. And I mean, Riddler is just not even like as far removed as
No,
like.
yeah, no, I acknowledge that as well.
And I mean,
Riddler's
it's
very-
the Amadeus. It's not even its own side mission. It's only a tally for like the Riddler stuff. So
yeah,
it's two pieces of the. It's so
sure,
technically that game has one
you're
side
right.
mission.
Yeah,
But
I agree with you.
I mean, City
I
though, it's like. I mean, a lot of the points, you're talking about stuff you don't like, but I can make points for what I like, and and
Mhm.
the ending of the Bane stuff is not great, and I mean the whole going around spray painting on Titan things and blowing it up, that's kind of meandering. But like seeing Batman team up with Bane was such a really cool, a really cool moment. Like probably the
I
best thing
agree.
about that, and like
It's,
all these things I can make arguments for it. Just like I mean, the Riddler trophies, yeah, they're way too much, but the Riddler rooms are super fun
Are
to trek
cool.
through. Are cool.
Yes, they are.
Deadshot, his boss fight is lame, but seeing all the mysteries of how he killed these people, like with ricochet shots, that's cool, I think. And I mean, Hush, that's a just an amazing mystery on its own. The Norris stuff is like, you're right, it tightens that connection between him and Victor, which is really cool. But yeah, I mean, I guess it just kind of goes back to an earlier point I made, which was like, like the stuff we have in City, it might not be 100% always, but
Mm.
there are some really good like little pieces in there, even in the bad stuff. Like even the AR
Yeah,
challenges I like doing. So
I think there comes a point too where like you look at both sides of our arguments and you have to kind of make a decision to yourself like more of this is based on personal preference than it is objectivity because there is certain things that are objective like
right,
absolutely like City did further further gameplay and traversal and furthered everything over Asylum and that's just a fact because Asylum was the ground blueprint baby
mm-hmm.
tic-tac-toe a
Mm-hmm.
winner
Yeah,
but but I think that whether you prefer that or not over Asylum is when you get into opinions. And for me, for that stuff, I could flip flop any day, but I usually will prefer Asylum over it, regardless of the upgrades. I'll say. But Caden, you can go on to your point of rebuttal.
yeah.
and spit venom.
It's been great to have you silent for this long. It's like a godsend.
It was
How
I'm
we
gonna
how we
send you to
managed
God.
how we managed to shut him up for 5 minutes is just insane.
Because I opened my
Now
mouth
listen
and he
here.
was like, you know what, you
So,
go ahead.
Spit, King, spit. I love
so
how he has like a
you
key.
say
That it's
all these. So you say all these things about how the side missions and side content, the things that I said that add to City's overall experience. You
right.
talk about how they don't add anything, but you really
Most of them
provide
don't.
no real argument as to why they don't
Well,
add
do you
it.
want me to tell you
Meanwhile,
why?
like Marvel just explained. You know what? Go ahead, pussy boy. Let's talk about it.
Okay, well actually let's do this in the form of questions. What does Deadshot's side mission add to the overall lore and experience of Arkham City?
It adds extra stakes. It adds an extra load on top of Batman throughout the night. It adds, it really shows the type of people being thrown into Arkham City, right? It shows the type of monsters that are behind the walls that are caps in Arkham City, and it
But
really
does it
goes into Batman's detective skills, and it shows off a lot of, just a lot of different locations within Arkham City as well.
And it
I
adds a
wouldn't
little bit of to Hugo as well, because he's the one who hired Deadshot to
Right.
assassinate these people in the first place. So
I wouldn't constitute scanning something with your detective vision detective work, and it goes the same for Origins. I don't think it, but I will say that yes, absolutely, there is lore reasonings behind it. But does it add anything to the story? Does it add
Well,
anything to the
does
open
scanning a
world?
stone?
Yes, when it's Yes, it does. When it gives you backstory to the world that you're in.
And also for
Okay,
And
Deadshot,
there's a
so does
payoff.
then
the
even
Deadshot
for
mission.
Deadshot, there's
Deadshot mission
actual
does
setup in the narrative. It's a quick moment, but Deadshot is there right in the beginning, so it's setting up
Yeah.
that side mission for later.
Mhm.
And
Did
then also
Amadeus
added
get
on
any?
to what Marvel said,
Did
adds more
Amadeus
to
get any
Hugo
setup?
Strange,
Like,
adds more war to Hugo
Yes.
Strange's character.
You walk in, hey, okay, if we're getting into this, then you walk into Deadshot in the beginning of the game. You walk into Quincy Sharp in the beginning of Arkham Asylum. There's your setup. If we're going by walking into people, I mean, you see Hugo Strange in the beginning of Arkham City. That doesn't have to mean anything. It does, but it doesn't have to. Um, and also, like, does putting someone in the game mean that it's a good setup? I think Deadshot's setup is good. I would agree with that. And like Azrael's there, that's cool.
yeah,
But what if they didn't do anything with that? Would it have meant anything? I mean, it doesn't have to mean anything now either. Like, just because Deadshot's there doesn't mean it adds anything to the side mission necessarily, except maybe there's some extra backstory of, oh, he's here, but that's it. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel when I play the Deadshot side mission that it adds anything to my overall Arkham experience. I really don't.
Well, then let's not look at the Deadshot experience because
Let's look at
evidently
some
you
other
don't
ones
see
then.
something with that. Let's look at something like Zaz, for example.
I
Same
hate that mission.
situation.
Hate that
Shows the
mission.
type of people. I hate you. So it shows the type of people that get put behind these walls in Arkham City, right?
Right,
So
absolutely.
it really shows you. It shows the type of monsters that are here. It shows again more detective work with Batman having to trace the phone call.
Right.
And this is one of my least favorite in the game, but still does a good job of imp, not improving, and what's the word, expanding the overall arcing story arc of Batman Arkham City.
and we get some insight into
So
Zaz himself because
Right.
I mean, a lot of us,
that is,
all of
but
us,
we get more character development for Zaz than we did we get more character development in Arkham City for the character of Zaz than we did in Asylum, because Asylum kind of had him as more of a henchman character.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Zaz in Arkham City gets more fleshed out. You get to really see the true comic accurate Zaz.
He does, but it's at the expense of, to me, a very lackluster side mission that doesn't really mean much. The phone calls are cool. Phone calls are cool.
yeah,
I enjoy hearing the backstory. Um, but it's surrounded by the annoyance of following a tracker around, and your mind really isn't on anything that he's talking about. At least mine wasn't when I played it when I was younger. Mine was on, when is this going to be over so I can knock him out and capture him. See, and I'll give it this. It's creepy, but the surroundings of Arkham City don't envelop me in that story like it did in Asylum for Amadeus Arkham did, for example. I'm trying to think of another side mission that. Okay, Azrael. That's something that we can all unanimously agree on is a great side mission. I think.
I love Azrael. The whole
Okay.
side mission from beginning to end.
So that side mission is an example of what I would stack up against Amadeus Arkham. In terms of how it's telling the story, the payoff in the end, and also the shroud of mystery around the whole entire mission.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that Azrael's alluded to in the beginning, and I think they did it right by just showing him ever so slightly in the distance, and you might have missed him. I think it's cool having yourself scan symbols that you don't know what they mean, because it's further elaborating on the mystery that is who this man is. Yes, we can all agree on this.
Yes.
Yes. But I think all of these things are why Amadeus is great as well. And I don't want to fell on the fact that it's just, oh, I sound like a broken record, like Amadeus Arkham this, Amadeus Arkham that. Because yeah, it is. You guys have that over me. You have more side missions. But I just think that this one side mission has more quality than most of the Arkham City side missions. even if it's not
Yeah,
a side
could
mission.
I piggyback on this?
No, go ahead.
I was waiting for him to start talking.
Um, I think the big thing for me is like, okay, like the side missions in Arkham City, I think pretty much all of them are really cool in concept, but a good amount of them are not well done in like execution. What I think that Asylum has over them, despite not having a lot of like quantity, is like refinement. Is uh is is like a good payoff, like Josh was saying, making it worth your time, even if uh some tasks can be like tedious,
Yeah, like
like with Zaz.
I think being more enveloped in the open world for me is what Asylum has over City in terms of like this feels like an extra layer that I'm unraveling as this mystery is going forward.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't feel
Yeah,
that way with Zaz for an overall world standpoint. I do feel that way for Batman lore, maybe for this version of Batman's lore, but when we're talking about Asylum, like Asylum is a condensed world, right? Like, and City is too, but Arkham Asylum is like a staple, right? Like Arkham Asylum has to be done right.
Yeah.
And this felt like right out of the comic page. And I think that side mission helps further the narrative that this game is a living, breathing comic book.
Yeah. I mean, for whatever shortcomings Arkham City has with its side missions, whether it's like tracking phone calls or even something as non-existent as going to pick up the mine, detonator and stuff,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
get the upper echelon of stuff like Azrael or even Hush. Hush like is
Yeah,
just
Hush.
is incredible, and I would go as far as comparison to Amadeus. Like it's like in that same caliber. Like that those two, Azrael and Hush, in that game. I mean, that's what I look forward to the most whenever I go back to it. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
If I can do all the AR stuff, the Bane, whatever, Deadshot, all that. But then I go to Azrael and Hush, and it's just like I feel like I'm like 10 years old again, seeing it for the first time, and I'm still amazed by it.
Yeah.
that
Caden, do you want to add anything?
Here's a point that I just thought of. So
Okay, I'm
earlier
curious.
you said that what the hell are you laughing for?
It was the way you
So
went. So here's a point that I thought of.
I'm talking like an old YouTuber from like 2008.
All right, well,
true.
This is the
what's your
aesthetic I'm
point?
going.
Mm.
I'm curious.
So you said that the Amadeus Arkham mission is
Mhm.
better than a majority of what's in Arkham City.
Yeah,
But notice your wording here. You said a majority. Therefore, there's not just
right.
one side mission in City that you think is better. There's
I didn't say
multiple
better. I
in
didn't say
City,
better. I didn't say they were better. I
or at
put them
least
on.
on
I
par.
put
At
them.
least on
I do
par.
put them on par. I put them on
At
par.
least on par.
Yes.
But when Arkham City has the better combat, the better open world, the better traversal,
Hmm.
when it has all of that, and then has multiple side missions that are on the same par as what you would consider one of the best,
Right.
doesn't all that add up to a better game and a better
No.
experience, even if some of the other side missions don't live up to the same quality
No,
because you're
because
getting more quality?
Well,
no,
I think the thing
because the things
is
in
that
Arkham Asylum are more special and unique than Arkham Cities will ever be. For me, that's how I feel.
Boy, those two letters saved your life, or two words just saved your life there, buddy.
I mean, you're right. Those things are
This is not
special,
sharp at all.
but
Cut my
I
I know.
mean, they are special. Like Amadeus is special. But I think it's more so.
But even on a gameplay standpoint,
I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, Amadeus is more special when you're actually thinking about it. Because when you're actually doing the side mission, it's just like, oh, I got to go over here, scan this. Like, as for us seasoned players, we already know what the end result is. And it
Sure.
doesn't, for me, it doesn't have that same, like, lasting wonder that it did when like when I go back to Azrael or when I go back to Hush or whatever. Like, Amadeus is just like, okay, I'm just going to go back to the penitentiary, go into this room, scan the floor, listen to Quincy's message, and then there, done. But like, I don't like. It's more so a more recent thing. But like, Azrael, I can take myself back to when I can think of those memories of when I first discovered like that last symbol on the wall, or seeing that last body and going to the apartment that Hush was staying in. I mean, I can do that for Amadeus too, but I don't think it has that same factor that those other two have.
for me, it does for sure. But it also has it for Azrael and Hush.
Yeah.
Um, but like gameplay wise and stuff, like I really think that, and like I said earlier, City's gameplay in terms of combat, is and just strictly combat and even stealth, we'll say, is my favorite in the entire series. I think it set a standard that like something like Knight had to compete with in terms of trying to make it better. Um, and even I would say with Knight, like Knight technically is better, but I would rather play City's combat and stealth over Knight any day for
I
me.
would too. Yeah. If we're
Well,
going to
see,
Knight,
the
Knight
thing
and
with
City.
Knight is while
But I feel the
Knight on
same
a
about
technical
Asylum.
standpoint,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Knight on a technical standpoint, maybe on a technical standpoint, like I said, it would be better. But at what point do you add too much? Because I feel like in Knight it becomes a thing where there's too many mechanics that drag down the experience, as opposed to something like City, which is more balanced combat.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the point I just wanted to say real quick
So,
before
my
we go in
opinion, the
depth on that.
technical aspect doesn't
Go ahead.
really for Knight as much as it does with City, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think the
No,
technical,
yeah.
the argument that it's technically better doesn't really work for Knight, because there's a much different reason why I feel like the technical aspect for Knight drags it down, as opposed to the technical aspect in City makes it better.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And in terms of Asylum versus City, in terms of combat and stealth and all that stuff, it is my favorite in the series in City. Absolutely. It is the best, most refined combat stealth traversal. But I would rather play Asylums. Because it's very special to me.
Yeah.
It adds something to that
As
game.
with me. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
Cities is perfect in every way. But the imperfections of Asylum is why I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with that. But my whole part, like this whole debate or whatever, my stance is just on a technical level, and it also just from the reactions from all the fans and stuff. And as much as I love Asylum's combat, I can go back to it anytime, no matter if I play Knight and then go back to Asylum, City, whatever. Like, I can still go back and get right in that comfortability spot, no problem with Asylum. But on a technical level, City, I think, and the mass majority of people in the fan base would agree, it is a step up in pretty much every way. And I love Asylum shortcomings, but yeah, I think just on a technical
Josh,
level.
in a similar way to how you feel. Okay, AJ, go ahead.
Yeah, AJ, you say what you had to say first.
I was just gonna say, I do think it does get to the matter of like what you want out of a Batman game, because I think Asylum and City deliver on different visions of what you can get out of a Batman game, which I think because like Asylum is a lot more exploratory, whereas City is definitely more like action oriented.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So like that's why, like, I mean, it's simple to say that like both opinions are valid, but like that is why both opinions are valid, because these two games uh, exactly appeal um, to different visions of what Batman video games can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Caden, what were you gonna say?
So to add on to what you said earlier, but basically you saying that playing City really, or not City, God, playing Asylum really puts you back into that mindset that you had when you were younger, first playing it. I feel like that could also apply to me and other people when it comes to their emotional attachment to City as well,
Of course.
Yeah.
But
which
I
is
have that
why
emotional attachment to City as well.
I
I
mean
do.
I do with Asylum as well, but it's
I
more so
played
a
City
thing for
first.
City. Actually, I played Asylum first, but it's a thing where uh, City is what got me into the Arkham fan base. It got me really involved at a young age, especially watching people like K Wing and keeping up with the news for Arkham Origins release at the time, and
Yeah.
then going on the
Mm.
night. Here
Oh,
we go, shadows, I
that's a
guess.
whole other debate. Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun one.
I think the next
Imagine
debate is going to
really,
be which game is worse, Origins or Night.
Caden hates us right now.
So here's the new the new perspective on this. The debate now is not because I didn't go on to what AJ said again. They're both perfect Batman games in their own right.
Yeah.
So the real debate is not whether which game is better, Asylum or City, because they're both valid answers. You can have your own reasoning behind each. It's all subjective.
Right.
So the real debate is not there. The real debate is which is worse, Arkham Knight or Arkham Knight? And the answer is going to be Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight.
And so I'm just going to rest my case and say that and just say that there is no correct answer in this debate. The real correct answer is where do you stand when it comes to the quality you expect from Rocksteady? Because for me, it ended at
Yeah.
City.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think we all can agree that it
Yeah.
ended at City as well.
Oh yeah.
I love the thumbs up.
As much as I have probably a million hours on Night.
So do I. I have so many memories and great times attached to Arkham Knight, but as a game, it just falls flat on every level. So, I think we all have emotional attachments to Arkham Knight in that time when it was coming out because it was like an Arkham renaissance for people like us. I
It
mean,
was, yeah.
it was like Arkham fans galore at that point. And I have nothing but great memories from those times. I don't remember hating the game, and that didn't really come until much later. But yeah, that time was great.
Yeah.
And the aftermath
I
of
feel like the Arkham Knight didn't really come out until the hype died down, and then you really saw it for what it was as a Batman story.
right, unless
Yeah.
you're those idiots on TikTok who are like, it's the best Arkham game. It's like no KYS, bro.
You're wrong. Just flat
Yeah, you're
out.
just objective.
People who say that are people who don't play the other games or don't care about the story of the games. They just want
Right.
Batman beating shit up.
Yeah.
I agree. So I do want to go over this next point. I kind of wanted to talk about the stories for each one because
I was gonna say, yeah, we haven't really
because
touched on that.
this is a main selling point for a lot of the arguments for City is that the story is better in terms of an overall experience. The story delivers on a lot more than Asylum does in the party of the pro Arkham Cityers. I want to talk about this because Marvel and I have talked about both stories, Asylum and City, pretty in depth before, and our problems with both. But here we are defending each individual side. So
Yeah.
I kind of want to let you guys go first and talk about your opinions on this. So I'll give the floor to you guys.
This is gonna be so difficult for me, but I'm gonna let Alter go first.
Hold on.
Get your
It's a new
camera
message.
on.
All right. Is my camera even on?
No, it's
No, it's not on. No.
I'm
Get your
trying
camera
to,
on, you
dude.
son of a bitch.
It doesn't work.
There.
Bro.
It keeps going.
It's flashing.
Dude, it's cooked. It's what it is. It's just stuck on a loading screen for me.
Your camera's cooked, Oz.
My camera's cooked.
Oh,
That's
it came on right whenever I turned.
Do you wanna exit out real quick and we'll keep talking for a minute and you just reset your app?
Oh, I guess
There,
yeah.
guys, this
Wild.
happens
Oh
sometimes.
God,
guys,
I'm a
with live
one-man team
difficulties.
now.
All right, how's your thing working?
Is that
There we
Arkham
go.
Sorry.
There we go.
He's back.
He's back.
Okay, so now I'll give the floor to you guys.
All right. Alter
Story.
story.
So when it comes to the story, you have the story of Arkham Asylum, which was, basically an adaptation, a loose adaptation of Serious House and Serious Earth, which is a phenomenal graphic novel. And I think it does a great job of showing you the atmosphere of Arkham Asylum, bringing people what at the time was a nostalgic experience because it brought back the animated series, voice actors, and overall was probably the best Batman experience we had at that time. But it was still very small in scale. And then you have Arkham City come out a couple years later that very much ups the scale 10 times, with being really the first game to really establish the Arkham franchise as its own entity story wise, as its own universe. It really this story really made every character feel like their own version of the character, as opposed to just being just an adaptation. It becomes a point where it's not just an adaptation of Batman. This is a new version of Batman, and there's just way higher stakes. It's a lot more. In my opinion, it's a lot more of an original idea coming from the Rocksteady team. Still Paul Dini, so still phenomenal. And I just really feel like it takes every story aspect from Asylum, doubles it, and then just comes out with this more of a triple A experience as opposed to City, or no, as opposed to Asylum.
That's City.
Yeah,
He has a
I agree with everything you just said, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's worse after Marvel.
Do you want to just
Marvel
dive into it
goes-
now?
No, I'm
No,
curious. I'm
well,
curious what you have to say.
Well, I'm really
No, go
curious
ahead.
what you have to say. So,
Okay, so some of it I do agree with, and I'm not going to go against it because I do agree with it. In terms of, yes, Asylum is a loose adaptation of one of my favorite graphic novels ever, which maybe that's why I love that game so much, partially. But I agree. Arkham City took a loose adaptation and created its own new continuity and universe around that,
right.
which is an incredible feat. It's rarely done, and when it is done, it's not always done great, and they did it really, really great. They turned an adaptation into a AAA video game with its own backstory. So that's an incredible thing to do. What can you go over a couple more of your points real quick, just so I can get them in my head again? It like up was it mainly just like you so mainly you just it upped the scale of everything and turned all of Asylum's good ideas into better
itself
ones.
as its own universe, and
Mhm.
really the stakes were higher. It felt like a lot more of a Batman had a lot more on the line.
Mhm. Okay. All very
And
good
I feel like
points.
it also broadened the universe a lot more as well, because you had the introduction of stuff like the League of Assassins, like Robin. You introduced the introduction of Alfred into the universe. The first time seeing Riddler in person. The open
Mhm.
world, like I said, allowed you to explore that portion of Gotham.
Mhm. Okay. So, in your mind, is there any faults in City's story?
Well, I mean, there's different plot holes, and there's different, things where characters can sometimes be inconsistent with what they're thinking. That happens a few times within the story.
Yeah.
But I would also argue that Asylum also has similar faults to its story.
Mhm. Mhm. So, is there any parts of the story that you feel should have been improved on? And not necessarily plot holes, but larger plot points that you really feel weren't as refined as they could have been, or maybe just was like a weird direction that they went.
I would personally, Ra's al Ghul as a character,
Like
just
how
in
so?
general. I feel like they could have done him way. Well, just his whole character arc is just like, detective, I want you to bang my daughter and then kill me.
Hmm.
Like that's kind of his whole shtick in that entire universe, or in that entire game at least. Is
His whole
Can
he
I
shtick.
really
say
wants?
can I say
Yeah,
Ra's al Ghul?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I do not care for his voice actor.
Really?
I
I
love
love his
I,
voice
lo- I
actor.
love his voice actor in that game.
I grew up
shut the
on David.
fuck up, AJ.
I grew up on David Warner, so um,
I get that.
I mean, he's no David Warner, but it's still pretty good.
I'm not saying it's bad. I
Are you sure?
like I'm not gonna say it's like objectively bad.
No, but you
It
can
just
say it's bad. Like if you really don't like it, I mean, there's nothing wrong with you not liking it.
Yeah.
not like the voice or tone that I hear when I read Ray Charles.
Okay.
Like like David Warner's who I hear, or maybe even like whoever played him on that one episode of Batman Brave the Bold.
Yeah.
Bro, can't even remember.
His favorite show.
Wow.
What a pussy.
For me, I I didn't see the Ra's al Ghul episodes of BTAS until after I played Arkham City in 2011, 2012 area. So I had heard City's interpretation first. So I have more of a connection to that version just because I heard it first. But I do prefer David Warner at this point in my
Taz
life.
was
My voice is Liam Neeson.
the
Hey,
first
Yeah.
imprint.
Let me look up who plays them and Beware the Batman. I'll get back to you.
oh God.
I
Okay,
think it
so
was Lance Reddick, but anyway, continuing on.
I think
The
what
goat.
I'm going to say here comes down to subjectivity, but everything that we've been talking about, how it ups the stakes, ups the antes of Asylum, um, um, it kind of turns everything into a AAA, prospect kind of a thing. I think what makes Asylum great is that it's so reliant on the fact that they didn't know if they were going to get a sequel or not. So they worked their ass off to give you the best story in that world that they possibly could.
Yeah.
And what I love about Asylum is that it doesn't have the hassle of a crazy AAA project. It's just a straight up damn good Batman story about Batman beating the villain in the end. And that's what I love about Asylum. It's Joker escapes, and Joker is a menace to society and a murdering psychopath who is killing everyone in his way to take control of the asylum, which just that plot point alone is such a Batman comic book thing. Joker taking over asylum, like an asylum. Like I've seen people say, like, what was his end goal? It's like it doesn't really matter. Like, what is ever Joker's end goal? He doesn't want to dominate the world. He just wants to destroy Batman.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to play
Yeah.
games with Batman. It doesn't matter to Joker. So that's amazing that they took one island and one area of the entirety of Gotham City and made just a great hero beats villain game. Without the
Hmm.
hassle of a universe that might not have went anywhere if that game didn't succeed. Um, and especially if can you guys imagine if Asylum came out now, it would probably be panned by critics. People would hate that game. Um, and it probably wouldn't have went anywhere.
Well, it's going to come out
Um,
here in a few years when they remake it. So we'll have to see what the critics
To be
score.
fair, I remember, or at least I've seen reviews for Asylum back in like '09, and that game got like a
Mhm.
7 out of 10. That game didn't get
Yeah.
reviewed that well.
But I do think that it
People
overall
were
got.
stupid.
I agree. No, that's true. But luckily, I think the reviewers at the time that mattered gave it good reviews
Yeah.
in terms of like public
Well,
opinion.
evidently, won a game of
Plus-
the year, so it had to have been some
Right.
sort of
Plus, like,
impact.
Right.
compared to all of the Batman games we had gotten before it, anything that wasn't Dark Tomorrow was gonna
This is
get
just a
somewhere.
better game.
Yeah, literally. But
Batman
yeah, and
Begins game of the year 4 years in a row till Asylum came out.
Yeah.
Zah!
Yeah. Yes.
But no, and
Jumps
that's
out of
one
the
of
car.
that, that's one of the things I love and also don't love about City is that it's a AAA prospect and it does amazing things with the characters and story that it already has, and ups the ante. But at the same time, it's a lot. A lot. It's a lot. Caden, you know what that
It's
clip
just a
is, right?
lot.
Yeah, you know what that. But it's something I love and don't love about City. And I'm maybe it's subjective and a personal opinion, but I I would rather play a much more dumbed down detective story of Batman just going after Joker or going after somebody,
Yeah.
than this huge set piece of a game, which is great in its own right. But with Asylum, there's no pressure. Like there's nothing to compare it to. It's just Arkham Asylum, and Arkham Asylum.
But
It's such a perfect
But
like.
Let one
of
second, and then you guys say your thing. I just want to say this: City works well because Arkham Asylum is there. Asylum works well on its own. I don't think City holds up on its own as well as Asylum does, and I feel the same about Origins and Night. I mean,
Yeah.
with the good things that are in Night, um, they all hinge off of Asylum, and that doesn't make it a better game immediately, but based off the points I presented already, I think that
well,
for
that's
me
like
it's
that's like
better.
saying The Dark Knight isn't good on its own because it has to stand. It has to pick up where Batman Begins leaves off.
Not necessarily, because see, Asylum didn't have any inkling of being a success at all. Batman Begins had kind of a lot in its favor. A lot.
It just had a lot.
And yeah, you could make that argument, but also it would sort of be true as well. And I'm not saying City is bad without Asylum. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that a lot of what City has hinges on Asylum.
Well,
I mean,
it's because it's a direct.
yeah, it's a
It
sequel.
has
The
to.
story of
It's a sequel.
story of
Yes.
wouldn't exist without the
And
story of Asylum, so it has to.
right.
If you want to
But
look at it from like a fundamental standpoint, Arkham Asylum wouldn't exist without Batman 2000 by Neverstop for reinventing basically 3D gameplay for superheroes. If you want to look at it that way,
But that's not my
does that
point.
make
My
Spider-Man 2000 the best Arkham game?
No, my point is to say that because Asylum didn't have anything but its own devices to stand up on, that the story feels more condensed and that you can play Asylum without ever having any knowledge of anything else. That's all. That's all
I
I'm trying
mean,
to say.
not gonna lie, 2000 Spider-Man is actually the best Arkham game. You know,
Damn, bro.
Actually, fellas, 2000 Spider-Man actually is the best. Fuck up, you fucking pussy. Listen here, all right, you son of a bitch. So, listen, so I'm gonna pick up on something you said earlier. So basically, you
Pick up where we left
had
off.
a big argument. A big argument that you made earlier was that that you basically just admitted to the fact that Arkham City is a bigger game, has more stuff, does
I didn't say
more.
it didn't. I
but
didn't
you
say it didn't. I
prefer
said
a
I agree.
more- I know, but what I'm saying though is that you're saying that you prefer a dumbed down experience. So what you're
A
saying
lot
is
of
that
times,
City is
sometimes.
still a superior experience because
That's a
Asylum
weird
is a
way-
dumbed down version of what City is.
But I thought I already
that's a
agreed
weird
to
way.
this in the beginning of the opening statement. I said
You
everything
did,
in
but here's the
yeah.
thing. Here's the coming back to this point is the fact that you can, but we're talking from a technical standpoint here that
But I'm
a
not. I'm
city
talking
is.
about everything.
Well, let's talk about everything, big boy. Let's talk about the fact that I have you on camera saying the N word. Play it, Jamie.
Play it, Jamie. Okay, listen. To get this out of the way so there's no confusion. City on a technical level
Never.
is far superior
City
to
Online,
Asylum. Is far superior to Asylum. That does not make it better in any way, shape, or form.
except it does.
No, it doesn't. It does
From
not
a
make it better.
technical gaming aspect. Let's not look
But
at
that's
let's
not what
not
we're
look at
talking about. We're talking about
you know,
everything. We're talking
story
about.
or anything. We are talking
Okay,
about
go ahead.
everything.
I mean,
but
I mean,
this is just an
if we,
aspect of the larger. AJ, AJ, AJ. Sit down, Dan Schneider. Sit down, and let the big boys finish. So basically,
say you've been yapping the whole time.
so but essentially, see, you made me lose my fucking track. All right, the autism's kicking in now. All right, I'm hyper fixated on this shit now. All right, I'm stimming right now, dude. Chill out, dude. But I really feel a big part of talking about because let's not look at the fact that it's a Batman story, right? Let's not look at any of that like right now. Let's look at it purely from a gaming aspect because these are video games in that medium.
All right, Jamie, pull the clip up.
From a pure technical gaming aspect, pull it up, Jamie. From a pure technical gaming aspect, Batman Arkham City is just a way better, showcase of everything that was out at the time.
Okay, by that logic, and I'm not saying I agree with this, but by your logic, I could easily backtrack it and say Asylum is technically better because City wouldn't exist on any grounds without Asylum's gameplay. And the fact that Asylum built itself off of nothing, I could say it's better technically because it had nothing to go off of. And City needed Asylum to become better.
But
I don't agree with that. I don't
that,
agree with that, but I could say
I know,
that.
What I'm saying that to combat that argument from ever being made is the fact that City is an advancement off of Asylum.
I'm stimming, bro.
I mean,
it's in the word. It's an advancement. It builds off of.
What are you, a scientist?
Innovate.
It is it's an advancement to the world around us.
Arkham City will cure cancer.
If that Arkham City, we wouldn't know the cure for cancer right now.
I mean, of course, like it's like, when you play both games back, you're gonna like Arkham City's story more because of what happened in Asylum. I can make a case though that you say whatever. You could still enjoy Arkham City's story on its own. As a game and as a Batman story, it works both on those levels. And,
you can enjoy anything on its own.
Yeah.
But there's extra baggage with City. I feel there's so much going on in that game. Yeah. And also, we still have not gotten to your thoughts on the entire thing because you needed to. So what is your?
I'm waiting for you to have your.
Well, I'm kind of for now. No, for now I've gotten my points out of the way, but I want to hear what you have to say as well because there's going to be definitely more that you, me, Caden, and AJ can hinge off of with that. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love Asylum's story from all of its shortcomings, all of its weird decisions it makes throughout, with Joker wanting to create monsters to take over Gotham, all that, yada yada. In the grand scope of the series, it's a very, when you actually look at it, it's a great story, but it's a very safe story. And one of the things I love about Arkham City story is that it's really good and it actually takes risks. Like it might be stuff that we've seen before, but they had the balls to kill the Joker in a franchise that was still making games later on. Like, I mean, we didn't know they were going to make a prequel. We knew that they were going to make a third game, but the fact that they were just like, yeah, let's kill the Joker.
We didn't know there could be VR games and a mobile game and
Yeah.
mobile spin-off.
Yeah, we have a mobile game coming out in 2 months. Let's just kill the Joker like beforehand.
Suicide Squad game.
And it's like the story of Arkham City, like it's stuff we're still talking about in the gaming space today. Not a lot of people that I've seen, like as much as we love Asylum, not a lot of people are talking about Arkham Asylum's narrative nowadays. As far as other gamers, we're different, of course, because we're him. But like, anytime you ask somebody about like, oh, the Arkham franchise, most of the moments they're going to talk about are from Arkham City. So
that is true.
Yeah.
I do want to say that the biggest risk, obviously, in this entire series is the killing of the Joker. I will say, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. No, from my point of view, I think Arkham Knight, and maybe somewhat Arkham Origins, but mainly Arkham Knight because it's a sequel, takes away a lot of what made City's ending so great. And that doesn't make City any less valid. It's actually making Arkham Knight less valid. But when I play Arkham City now, knowing what comes after it, I'm just like, man, like, so the Joker died, and they really did nothing great with it. They took Batman, and then they backtracked,
Blame
gave
them
him the
for
disease
taking
again.
Paul Dini out of the picture.
That's the biggest issue right there. Is Sefton Hill does not know what the hell he's doing. We saw with, I mean, if we didn't see it with Knight, we saw it with Suicide Squad. So,
God forbid the new whatever the hell the new game company they started is.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget what it's called.
Yeah. I mean, even besides the Joker's death, I mean, the another one of the risks that they took was killing Talia off. And I mean, they didn't really. I mean, Arkham Knight's its own case. They didn't really like do anything great with the setup that they had, but it was like great. And when you think back to that in that moment, forgetting that Origins and Night, you're just like, man, damn, they killed Talia. They killed my wife, and then they killed Joker right after. Like so. But it's like when you think about Asylum, though, it's just
and they
kill like
Robin, and oh wait, Robin's back.
Oh God. But when you think about like Asylum, though, it's just like, I mean, it's great, I love it, but it's just like, I can break it down to like, Batman stopping the Joker, you know.
But that's what's great about it.
It is great. You're right.
You don't have to have any of these extra fancy things that make it something bigger than it has to be, because like at the end of the day, this is a guy dressed as a bat going up against a guy dressed as a clown.
I mean, yeah.
In a fictitious prison that doesn't exist. I mean, and again, I want to preface, City is fantastic and I love it and I could replay it a million times. But at the end of the day, I just want to be Batman, man. Like,
yeah, that's what we all want. Yeah. I want to be Batman.
And City does it in a great way, and so does Asylum. And it's your choice to choose which one you'd rather prefer, but I think at the end of the day, the better Batman story is Arkham Asylum. And that's just me. That's me. And I think, I don't, obviously not objective, but I really do think it is the better Batman story. On a Batman level, City, you guys know what I'm saying.
I mean, someone clearly has never played Arkham City Lockdown.
Okay, that's the best one.
I mean, I would agree. As a Batman story, Asylum is the better of the two. I think City is more great narrative-wise, just as a video game narrative, and that's probably where it works the most, because you couldn't really do like Arkham City the movie or whatever. So,
well, it's like the whole Dark Knight Batman Begins debate. It's like a lot of people say Batman Begins is the better Batman movie and The Dark Knight is a better movie. It's like, it's kind of similar in this situation, or like The Batman is a better Batman movie than The Dark Knight.
I mean, that just I mean, that just kind of goes back to like you're just that those people boiling down to like preference mostly. So, I mean,
Right. But you do have to get down to the nitty gritty in the sense of like everyone in here. Would you say that The Batman is overall a better movie than The Dark Knight? Cutting context that it's Batman, is it a better movie? Even if it's just by a hair, do you think it's better? Would you rather watch The Batman over The Dark Knight?
I mean, I would,
Okay, so we have
but
two.
but
I also would.
damn, Heath Ledger is just
I know he's
that's
incredible.
that's yeah.
If Heath Ledger wasn't in that movie, it wouldn't even be close. It would be the Batman by a long shot.
If Heath Ledger wasn't in that movie, I'd just be watching Batman Begins again. Like,
right. So,
I'd be watching Tom Hardy's Bane.
oh God, don't bring up death.
You think darkness is your ally, Batman? I'm wearing
nobody cared
blackface.
who I was until I put on the mask.
You think darkness
Tom
is
Hardy.
your ally, Batman? I was born in the hood.
Molded by it.
I didn't.
AJ, I think I know what you're gonna say, but would you rather watch the Batman over the Dark Knight? It is a very hard question. Even
why
for
do you
me,
make
it's
me-
a difficult question.
Heath.
Okay, look, I'll say
Okay.
this. It's like this for Asylum and City for me. But at the end of the day, I want a great Batman experience more than I want a great experience.
I would say the Batman is just a better Batman movie, and in a lot of ways, I do just prefer Matt Reeves directing.
So do I.
So it's a both worlds thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess the debate's over.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Harambe.
Do I leave with my ending statement?
You can if you want. Say your ending
Okay.
statement.
Recently, the docuseries Quad on Set highlighted mistakes I made and poor judgment I exhibited during my time at Nickelodeon, most of which happened decades ago during my early career as a producer working on shows for Tim Robbins Productions. There is no doubt that I was sometimes a bad leader. I am sincerely apologetic and regretful for that behavior, and I will continue to take accountability for it. However, after seeing the Quiet on Set docuseries and its trailer and the reactions to them, I sadly have no choice but to take legal action against the people behind it. In their successful attempt to mislead viewers and increase ratings, they went beyond reporting the truth and falsely implied that I was involved in facilitating horrific crimes in which actual child predators have been prosecuted and convicted. I have no objection to anyone highlighting my failures as a boss, but it is wrong to mislead millions of people to the false conclusion that I was in any way involved in heinous acts that were committed by child predators. I owe it to myself, my family, and many wonderful people involved making these shows to set the record straight. I just read Dan Schneider's statement on his defamation lawsuit because I have no concluding argument.
Where's my knife? I'm going to stab my teammate.
I genuinely have the statement from Dan Schneider on his defamation lawsuit pulled up on my PC right now.
Oh my god.
Because I don't know what else to end this on other than the fact that Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, this is just an all of objection. So we're leaving it up to you, viewer, watching at home, who sat through my defamation lawsuit reading, to tell us, what do you think is the best Arkham game out of the two of these? Because we know damn well it's not the other two. So which out of these two is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below.
Marvel closing statement.
Oh man, how do I follow up that that defamation quote? I mean, at the end of the day, these are two games that I love very, very dear to my heart. And as much as I would say that Asylum is my personal favorite of the two, I can go back to City no problem. Like if I'm looking for the to me, Asylum is my go-to story and world building game But as far as feeling like Batman, that I can, like, I'm probably gonna go back to City. Like, whether it's just flying around, uh, beating up thugs on the street, or doing challenge maps, or playing through the story again. Like, there's a lot of really great qualities to Arkham City, and it's a game that I'll be playing till the day I die. Like, it's never gonna dwindle, or I'm never gonna lose interest in
Under
it.
Mitch, baby.
um, but yeah, it's just an amazing game, and there's the end.
Okay. AJ?
I like Batman. You know, um,
Should have just ended there.
Cut it there. Don't say anything else. Cut it there.
Oh, I guess that's it.
He really did cut it there. Josh, go ahead.
I'm on. This is my time.
This is your time. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's all he had to say was he liked that. He's a man who knows what he likes, and I respect it. This
He
reminds
likes
me of that comedy. There was like a comedy set this one guy did where he said he was watching this like autistic couple go out on a date, and he's like, "That autistic man became my hero
Oh
because
yeah, I
he
saw
ignored
that.
his heart and his sleep." And he said, "Bitch, if you don't like Batman, fuck you."
Yeah, I remember that. So, AJ, your response was, "I like Batman." Hey man, I love Batman,
I love
and
you.
I like him too. I like him a lot. And at the end of the day, I just want to play a good Batman game. And both Asylum and City deliver that for me. Whether it just depends on the day, honestly, man. But I will close off with saying I do prefer Asylum. I always have, and I think I always will. But Arkham City and Asylum are both 10 out of 10 Batman experiences for different reasons. So this debate is ending on a rather mutual note, but um, Asylum's better. That's my closing
What he
statement.
really meant to say is that the greatest Arkham game is Origins, and that cannot be
Lockdown.
understood.
Lockdown.
Arkham Unchained.
Or oh yeah.
The tie-in
Oh my
comment.
god.
VR. Come on.
You remember what was that one Batman Arkham Underworld. Batman Arkham
I was
Underworld.
just about to say, yeah.
Dude, I had that game for like one
Dude,
day
how
in
someone
summer of
did it-
2016.
I never got the
I
chance
was
to play it.
gonna
I
say,
tried, but it just
he's
never
a
worked for me.
popular like Arkham like shorts creator. Forgot his name, but he has like a really thick like foreign accent. And he did like a top 10 list of all the Arkham games or something like that. Number 3 was Asylum, number 2 was Shadows, and number 1 was City.
oh,
Okay.
All right.
Just leave it on that note, fellas. I'm just leaving it on that note. Remind you guys that Shadows exists, and it's a good game. But it ain't that good.
I can't wait to play it at some point.
Yeah.
2027.
If YouTube isn't banned by then, like,
Well, evidently TikTok's not even banned anymore.
I mean, true.
CapCut still is, though.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
sorry.
fucked.
Why not unban the editing software? I got a video to post, dude.
No, you're fucked now. So, but anyway,
I got it
think-
working on my PC.
Anyway, subscribers, I think that is going to be the end of our debate. Let us know in the comments what team you're rooting for. Hashtag Team Asylum, hashtag Team City. Voice your opinions and, give us some insight in how do you feel about this whole
Hashtag
thing.
Team Underworld. Rise again.
Hashtag Team Hashtag Team Lockdown.
Hashtag Team Begin.
But yeah, 2025 is we got some exciting stuff planned for intensive treatment. There's a lot of things for us to talk about, and I can't wait to just delve into all those topics. And hopefully later on we can do more debates like this. Like, I seriously want to do a debate of which of Origins and Night is the worst of the two, and see if we can come up to a decision with that. But what do you think, Swifty? Should they plug their stuff?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
you guys go for it.
So, AJ, go
Hell,
ahead.
I need to commit. I'll do it anyway.
I got a lot of stuff going on. This past weekend, because Kristen, I joined in on a 48-hour video essay contest. And I made a video on 4 hours of sleep. Hopefully Fox unblocks the video soon, and you will be able to see that video. I'm also working on actually finishing the Manic Depression trilogy, which is It's a Wonderful Life video and a Massive Phantasm video. I'm also working on a David Lynch video since he passed recently. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on. Also, go buy a copy of Prodigy Comics #1, the indie comic that I co-created with my good friend Zane.
Nice. Alter.
Beautiful.
If you're a fan of podcasts, recently I started one back up again over on the CDMG channel. Artistic Integrity is back in full swing with our brand new episode talking about the banning of TikTok, which has aged horribly. But if you're still interested in us discussing how we thought it was going to affect creators at that time, you can go ahead and watch it if you like hearing my voice, Marvel's voice, Batman Ultra 7's voice, the three of us doing there. Josh didn't show up because he sucks.
He didn't care.
I'm kidding. I love you. We need to do one just me and you. But on top of me doing the podcast again, I got new music coming soon. There's not an official announcement yet, but there will be some stuff coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And then over on the Alter channel, we have a lot of cool videos. Obviously, I'm posting shorts every few days. My next video, like full-length video, is going to be a video on the history of Batman and television, currently being edited by AJ Howard, like we have with us here. And I'm also working on a few other videos that I feel like you guys may enjoy, some of which involve controversies with big content creators, comic book creators, Neil Gaiman, and also the downfall of Nightwing 01. It's going to be a video I'm working on that I think is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So just giving you guys a taste of what is to come with the Alter channel. So hope you guys subscribe and stay tuned for that.
Sounds good.
Excited.
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess if you want to sign us off, that's 50.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a lot of fun. I love hanging out with these guys, and Marvel and I obviously always love doing intensive treatment stuff for you guys, and this is a really fun one. We get to talk about two of our favorite games of all time.
Mhm.
So,
I surrender the
regardless,
blade.
thank you. Now you have to decide if you're going to kill Azrael or not. But this was so much fun, guys. I hope you had as much fun watching this as we did doing it. Let us know in the comment section below what you think. Which do you prefer? Asylum, City? Is it Origins or Night? It better not be, or you should unsubscribe immediately. But guys, I think with that, this is going to be it. As always, you can follow us on Instagram. I was going to say you can't follow us on TikTok, but you actually can follow us on TikTok again. So if you're in the United States, go ahead, follow us on TikTok down below. Instagram, we're posting anytime we're live, anytime there's a new video, all that good stuff. You can follow us on Twitter if if you want.
Do you guys
We're
even
on
post
there.
on that?
No, of course not. But we're there.
Don't post on Twitter anymore. Except for players.
We're there.
But guys, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Give us your debate thoughts in the comments, and I think we'll see you all in the next one. I want to thank these guys for joining as well. So thank you guys.
Stay locked up.
I was like, did he say the
Stay
line
locked
yet?
up. They locked up.
up. You guys should use the Akon song to end the video. I'm locked up.